Today we'll be visiting the most beautiful place in Canada I have ever come across. Before helping the Canadian Coast Guard do some research and manage sea traffic in the St. Lawrence River, and finally going back in time to see the future of rail travel. Now, if you missed last week's episode, we explored the remnants of the railway, tried farming potatoes, slept in a rotating house, rescued Oscar from under the Confederation Bridge, and baked bread in sand, all in the smallest province in Canada, Prince Edward Island. I'm Mike, and I'm traveling across Canada from tip to tip by train, and getting off in each province to find out what makes them unique and incredible. This is DownieLive, Travels by Train in Quebec. Now, to start our episode on Quebec, we're heading to a part of Canada that I had never heard of until now. A small island in Quebec, only accessible by plane, or in our case, a ferry from Prince Edward Island. We're heading to Iles-de-la-Madeleine. So this episode, this trip to Quebec has us crossing by ferry, but we'll also have to go back through PEI, through New Brunswick, to get on a train to head to Quebec City, and then onwards to Montreal by train, and eventually down to Ontario. Wow, this is the nicest ferry I've ever been on. Look at the deck, look at the deck. In fact, this is a brand new ferry, so the captain invited us up to see the bridge.
Bienvenue à bord du Madeleine 2.
This is Captain Arsenault. Welcome aboard the Madeleine 2. Obviously today is pretty much a perfect day out there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sunshine, calm.
Yeah.
Does it get more exciting when it's worse weather, or is it just not fun?
But it's different. The most difficulty you can have with the ship for docking is depend what the direction the wind is coming and how strong it's doing. And sometimes when it's too strong and the wind's against you, you have to wait for the wind to come down or switch.
Really? So there's always a new challenge.
Always, yeah. You will never do the day one day after another day the same.
Well, that's good.
Different.
Keeps it exciting.
Absolutely.
Good. Keeps you young.
Oh yeah, that too.
But maybe more impressive than the bridge is the engine room. You see, not only does this vessel have two of the biggest motors I have ever seen, but it also has its own generators, stabilizers, sewage cleaning system, and a water desalination system, which means it can make fresh water from the salt water. This is a really modern ferry that made the trip from PEI very comfortable. And so 6 hours later, we've arrived on what is referred to in English as the Magdalene Islands, but the locals call it Les Iles-de-la-Madeleine. And our first stop is sunset at the lighthouse. We met Isabel here.
Hello.
And she brought us to this spot. Best sunset spot?
Yeah, one of the best ones.
We've got the lighthouse behind us and the light of the gods in front of us. Oh my gosh. I can't stop saying, oh my gosh, it's the red rocks, the cliffs over there, the lighthouse, and of course we're here at sunset. You know, if we're going to do sunset, we're also up for sunrise. So Isabel, why is this the best place for the sunrise here?
I like it because of the cliffs over there and
the lighthouse
and
the beach.
No, and the sound of the.
It's on the right
waves.
side of the island.
Yeah,
it's a good choice.
Mm-hmm. You're happy?
I'm happy. Today's adventure is to discover exactly where we are and what this island is. And so we're driving around the island, but we've actually just decided to pull over and, well, see what's on the other side of these dunes. So most of the town or the villages on Iles-de-la-Madeleine are built on rock and ground and, you know, the red cliffs like we saw. But Iles-de-la-Madeleine goes quite a bit north, and it's a long, narrow string of sand dunes. So you can see here we have the ocean there, and this is an inlet, kind of like a big lagoon right there. I said at the beginning of the episode that everyone told me to come to Iles-de-la-Madeleine, but I didn't know what to expect. I definitely did not expect this. This is the location in the world that has under-promised and over-delivered the most. And that's why my entire visit has been non-stop shock and awe and this smile. Les Iles-de-la-Madeleine is a hidden beach paradise in Canada. Not only is it almost completely surrounded by beach after cliff after beach, but artists use the sand to make art and anything you can imagine. It was out on the beach that we met Lucy and Eve, but we'll get back to them later. Not only is this perhaps the most picturesque place I have ever been, but it's full of things to do. We spent the next morning golfing. And for once, Will and I didn't keep score, probably for the best. This is so nice.
Oh man, I just want to walk all day.
No, come on, let's do something more fun. I have an idea.
Oh, where is that?
I'm gonna take a mulligan, and you didn't see that. Well, there's another ball gone. I never said I was good at golf, but I do enjoy it. Par, baby! Let's go! Now that we've worked up an appetite, I think we found the freshest way to get our seafood fix. Each of these black balls is a buoy that has one of these massive cages underneath it, and each one weighs about 2,500 pounds, he says. Each one of these baskets has 300 oysters, and this whole cage has 10,000 oysters. And they let them sit and grow in the water for about 3 years before it gets harvested to eat. And the reason they say the oysters taste so good is because there's very little pollution in the waters up here. Clean water means great taste. Whether you like them or not, when you're on the oyster boat, you gotta try them.
Wow. You did it, man. No pressure.
Wow. And then, of course, back in the water, the cycle continues. But we have a lot more to do and see on this island, so let's keep this moving. This is Lucy. We met her yesterday on the beach, and she saw us just driving through town.
It's our third time.
Yeah.
Because when we came before, we really loved it.
Yeah.
And now that we're both retired, my husband and I, we wanted to have some quality time together.
Perfect.
In a completely different environment.
Yeah.
You want to come in for a coffee?
Sure.
Sure, yeah.
Come in. Go park yourself. Park yourself.
Oh, salut! We came in for a coffee, having a good time. We're probably overstaying our welcome, but we actually, I think we're making dinner plans with them tonight. This is exactly why I love exploring beyond the regular tourist spots. It's getting out of the cities and visiting towns like here that are my favorite because of the moments and memories they create. Even when we speak different languages, we're more likely to meet and connect with others. Will and I aren't near Lucy and Eve in age, but we enjoyed spending the evening with them, learning about where they're from, hearing about their family, and sharing stories until we were the only ones left in the restaurant.
Now, the reason the meat is so dark and looks so odd, along with the beautiful Canadian wild rice, is because it is seal. And when you are in Iles-de-la-Madeleine, well, we're gonna try seal for my first time ever. Oh, wow. For an animal that lives in the sea, it is not at all like seafood. It's chewy, but it's not chewy like game. Basically, when they told us this was on the menu, it was a sealed deal. No, sorry. I honestly wish I could make an entire episode on Les Iles-de-la-Madeleine. But for now, we have more of Quebec to see, and so we have to take, well, the ferry back to PEI, then drive across the entire province and the Confederation Bridge back to the Moncton train station to board the ocean. But tonight, in a sleeper, because it's an overnight train, we want to sleep. So we're about to get on board, we're gonna have dinner, get ourselves ready, I'll show you the rooms, and we're gonna go to sleep, and we will wake up in Quebec City where this continues. We just got our dining reservation so we can eat on board. Moncton is a service stop, which means they're gonna be here for a little bit. They have to refuel with water, diesel. Matt here is gonna show us inside the locomotive. So as usual, I won't touch anything as much as I'd like to. Matt, why don't you take a seat and show us what you do?
Bell, whistle. This is the engine brake.
Gotcha.
This is the throttle.
And that's the key.
Basically, it's the gear shift. So I go like that, we go forward. If I go like that, we go backwards.
Cool. We'll go get boarded.
Alrighty.
Thank you very much, and we look forward to riding with you.
Thank you.
So we've seen the locomotive, and now it's time to go and check out our sleeper cabin for tonight because we have about a 13-hour ride ahead of us. Now, some say these halls are a little too narrow. I just think that means they've maximized the amount of space in the room. Now, tonight we're sleeping and eating on board, and take my word for it, there's nothing better than being rocked to sleep on a train. And when you wake up, well, you have breakfast and enjoy a nice, relaxed morning on board before disembarking in Quebec City, where we've chosen to stay at the Hôtel Musée Première Nation, or in English, the First Nations Hotel and Museum. See, I've been on this trip for the last 5 weeks doing non-stop adrenaline activities, and this is a relaxation haven. The rooms are huge and comfortable. We have a balcony overlooking the river and the fall leaves, and just down below us is actually the spa. And I thought this could be a good place to switch off, have some fun, and learn about the Huron people here in Quebec City. So it just feels like the perfect place to stop and get caught up on all of that, and I'm really looking forward to it. Now, immediately as you pull up, you realize you've never stayed anywhere like this. This hotel, decorated tastefully with authentic Indigenous art, has an option to add on a cultural experience to your stay. And so Will and I will be making a talking stick. So there are rules that go along with the talking stick. You have to hold it in your left hand, and if you are holding it, no one else may speak, but you can't use the opportunity to speak ill of anyone else. And here it is, ladies and gentlemen, our talking stick. My beads and feathers, Will's beads and feathers, the 4 beads that represent the 4 seasons, and our fur at top.
You wanna go swim now?
Let's go swim. But this is nothing compared to what was to come in the restaurant. Started with cocktails, and then, well, a look at the menu, which has an impressive balance between modern and traditional cuisine. So we, well, started with the deer tartare, and then had the options of either bison or seal for the entree, which I wouldn't say is a normal offering at a restaurant. Let me just say, everything was fantastic, and it really was a unique experience that neither of us will forget. So we're off this train now. We're headed to go ride with the Coast Guard, but we will be back to take this all the way to Montreal, continue the journey. But together, we have to board a ferry. And that brings us to the Marine Communications and Traffic Services building here in Les Escoumins, Quebec. Let's go see what it's like. Now, Quebec's most important waterway is the St. Lawrence River, and the Canadian Coast Guard makes sure the whole area is safe. This is the Marine Communications and Traffic Services office in Les Escoumins. Now, it might not look like much, but trust me, it's a very important building. So what is it? Well, this is basically a 911 call center for boats, combined with an air traffic control center for ships. So this is Adam.
I am Adam.
Adam, where are we and what does all of this do?
So we're in Escoumins right now on the North Shore in Quebec, and this is the Marine Traffic Control Center. And what we do, to simplify it, a lot of people refer to it as a 911 of the seas. Anybody who needs assistance out on the water.
So as much as their job is reactive to respond to maydays and search and rescue calls, it's also preventative. They restrict areas to protect whales, and over here they're managing all the commercial vessels that are coming through to make sure it's all done safely so that they don't have to react with the search and rescue team. If a boater or someone on the water has an incident and radios to the Coast Guard for the search and rescue team, the call is answered here.
If we get a call coming in from anywhere on the water, all the antennas that are in range of capturing that signal will get an actual bearing on where that signal is coming from.
It's like triangulating where the call came from between the towers. Yeah. So the next question is, who responds? Well, that would be Captain Mylène and her team here in Tadoussac. And today I'm boarding the vessel with them. We're on our way out to recover a research buoy sent afloat to update current and tide data for the area so the Coast Guard can better understand and respond in the region. Everyone on this boat started fresh at one point.
That's right.
Last week we were in PEI, but different boat, different crew. Look at this.
And beluga whales right over there.
Oh my gosh, beluga whales! Wow. But as much as we want to see the belugas, we're here on official business. We have work to do, so we'll have to go whale watching another day. Another way the Coast Guard keeps the waterways safe is by manning and maintaining lighthouses. That is the Prince Shoal Lighthouse, and when it was built in 1964, it had the brightest light in North America. Now, the Coast Guard would bring supplies to the lightkeepers that lived on it year-round, well, until it was automated in 1987. Normally, lighthouses sit on shore, like off a point, but in this case, it's just a very shallow point in the middle of the St. Lawrence River to guide ships to stay away from there. So another tool the Coast Guard use is the Zodiac, which is a much more maneuverable vessel, but it's also twice as fast. So, now that we have the GPS coordinates, let's go find this thing. We are looking for the buoy at the moment. So it's important to do research out here in the currents and tides, obviously, so these guys understand the area better, and if some vessel were happen to turn over, they might be able to better respond knowing the area with that information. But trying to track this buoy by GPS is also like trying to find someone or a boat that might have given GPS coordinates. This just happens to be much, much smaller, so it's very good training. Wow. Minke whale. We just shut off our engines. It just happened to be right ahead of us. And this is closer than we got when I went whale watching. Even on a day as calm as this was not easy to spot until we got within 100 meters of it. If I was floating in the water in just this jacket, it would still be so hard to find someone out here. But we've got it. Success! Woo! So it's just like a little flag to catch the current, and then a little beacon and a little GPS up here. We did it! Seeing just how difficult it was to find that buoy, even with exact coordinates on a calm day, is a stark reminder to boat safely, because it's dangerous out here. I think I say this in every episode now, but Mylène, I think you have the best office view in Canada.
Oh,
we saw belugas.
I'm sure I do.
Yeah, we saw minke whales, you have lighthouses, and you're on the water.
Yep.
Doesn't get much better than this. Well, that was a great stay and exactly what we needed. So now we're off to Montreal to go see what the future has in store. But of course, to get there, we have to go through another National Historic Site. This is the Gare du Palais, the station here in Quebec City, built in 1915, made to look like the Chateau Frontenac. Very beautiful. Let's go inside. Wow, this is so cool. This is beautiful. It feels like a really warm outdoor space, like I'm in Europe. And because we're not traveling very far today, just Quebec to Montreal, we are not taking business class. There is a business class lounge, but we will be doing that in next week's video when we go from Montreal down to Toronto. Finally, we can't visit Quebec without visiting Montreal. This, for me, is the best way to travel, with a fresh croissant breakfast sandwich and a cup of coffee while realizing you're riding along the fastest corridor in the country. But train travel wasn't always like this. So I said we were coming to Montreal to show you the future, and I'm currently standing above a highway. Behind me I have Adrian and Emmanuel. What are we doing here?
We're going to see the cars, the REM cars.
The REM is the largest public transportation project in Quebec in the last 50 years.
Yeah, exactly.
Nailed it. Two questions for you.
Yeah.
One, what does REM stand for?
It's Réseau Express Métropolitain.
Réseau Express Métropolitain.
Yeah, that's good.
Not bad. So we're at the train museum here in Montreal. We're here because they have a model car. Model car. I'm like, what's it called? This is a replica of the very first steam-powered locomotive that ever rode in Canada. 1836. The reason this train museum is here on the south shore of Montreal is because this is where the very first tracks were. And now it will be home to the newest tracks in Canada, period, thanks to the REM. Wow, what a collection. Holy, oh my gosh, I've never seen such a collection of trains. I did not expect this. I was not prepared. So this is one of the 6 steam locomotives that took Queen Victoria and King George across Canada from Quebec all the way to Vancouver. And this train has been designated a National Historic Site. We're here to see a particular train, but I quickly get sidetracked by these iconic trains. They don't make trains like this anymore, do they? It's not the one we came in on, I'll tell you that. Before there were airlines, they were moving mail across Canada by train, and this is the mail car. In Quebec, sometimes the snow plow train isn't enough, so they have a snow blower train, and this thing is huge. So we're going through most of the collection. We must be getting close. So this is the new REM car?
No, exactly.
Oh, not yet. Okay, we're gonna go see it. This streetcar is the very first streetcar to run along the streets in Montreal. And the cobblestone that we're walking on is an original Montreal street. But currently, they're building what is called the REM. And this must be it. And so at the back of the Expo Rail Train Museum is a brand new REM display car.
So we wanted to have a special view of Montreal, so we have one of the biggest windows. And we also make sure that kids could get a great view of the city. Different feature like Wi-Fi.
Wait, you're gonna have Wi-Fi on board?
Yeah, so you can watch your Netflix TV show.
The floors are heated.
For the winter with like, yeah, you know.
I'm from Vancouver, which is the most mild temperature in Canada, so we don't get much snow, so we don't think of things like that.
Yeah.
This new route is going to connect Rive Sud, or the South Shore, to Montreal, with 67 kilometers of track. Now the original metro that's in place now has 71 kilometers, and it only cost $6.9 billion. When you're looking at heated floors and Wi-Fi trains and building 67 kilometers of track, it's actually a pretty good deal. So these lights were inspired by the new Champlain Bridge, which this will be crossing. As we were describing, you'd see downtown Montreal coming across the bridge, and these represent the cable, so it's kind of all the design was taken into consideration, locally inspired. This is a turntable, and I've seen a couple that are static displays before, but this one actually works and it's manually operated. Either way, we don't want to break it, we'll leave it, but I'm still impressed. This was the museum before you've now moved into that huge building next door. Wow, you've grown a lot. I didn't expect this. I came to see it, I saw the website, looked great, immediately walked in. Wowed. For anyone of all ages, you can ride on a full-size train or a miniature train or go see inside a steam train. They've got everything. They've got everything. So we're just about to leave Montreal here, but Will is from Montreal and he insists there is one thing we must do before we get back on that train and head to Ontario. I haven't been on a bike in a long time. This is good. So this series has been presented by Tru Earth, and the truth is that I've been using them for their laundry detergent, their eco strips, because they're plastic free, but they have plenty of other eco-friendly products. So we're taking the tote bag today, and in case we pick up some stuff for our train ride, I have their awesome mesh produce bag. This is all to reduce the amount of plastic that I'm using when grocery shopping or out and about. In fact, they have a whole line of plastic-free products that you should probably check out in the link down below. And if you want 10% off, well, guess what? Use discount code DownieLive and it'll get you that. And then you can pick from these or bamboo utensils or metal straws. I definitely recommend the laundry detergent. All right, why is this place such a staple?
This is the oldest bagel shop in Montreal, and Montreal bagels are world famous. Like, everyone knows about them, but St. Viateur is the favorite. And there's really two bagel shops here that people fight over. You can go to St. Viateur, you can go to Fairmount. I'm always a St. Viateur guy.
St. Viateur guy? Okay,
yeah.
well, let's try this. Oh, nice. Go. Thank you. Keep up the good work. Thanks, appreciate it. Even St. Viateur is plastic free. Oh. Toss it in. There you go, Will.
Thank you.
This one for me.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Enjoy.
Wow. Look at this. Full coverage on the sesame seeds. Not one-sided. That's a good bagel. I asked, do you get it buttered or cream cheese or anything on it? He says no. You eat it dry and fresh out of the oven.
But it's not dry.
No.
It's just fresh out of the oven.
Well, the Montreal bagel out of the way. Time to head to the train. Here we go, back again. So this lineup is for our train to board. But today we upgraded to business class because we have a longer trip.
Hello.
So we bypassed economy today. It's just business in both English and French, but I kind of like it because it kind of feels like I'm doing business affairs. This is business affairs. We've packed a little heavier than the average business class passenger. We've been on the road for 5 weeks. This is the busiest corridor that Via Rail runs. The most passengers travel on this train from Montreal to Toronto as anywhere else in Canada. And that is officially us entering into Ontario, which means this is the end of Quebec. But next week looks like this. Next week, we arrive in Canada's most populated province, Ontario, and immediately head to Pelee Island to find Canada's most southern point, along with North America's most important commercial winery. And for some reason, Transport Canada let me try the Coast Guard's brand new $25 million helicopter simulator. All before we board Via Rail's famous train, the Canadian. That's next week on DownieLive Travels by Train. Thanks for watching DownieLive Travels by Train. I'm Mike. I don't know where I'm going next, but I know I want you there with me. See you next week in Ontario. Goodbye.